If you are married to a narcissistic woman who says she loves you, but somehow you feel smaller every year, or if every conversation with her ends with you apologizing, I'm going to explain why trying harder to fix a female narcissist is often the trap, and how good men get stuck in these toxic dynamics. And I'm going to share 15 strategies that actually protect your sanity. And I want you to listen all the way through to the end, because the last strategy is the one men usually ignore. And it's the difference between regaining your footing or slowly disappearing while calling it loyalty.
Welcome to the Narc Free Man Podcast.
Welcome back to the Narc Free Man Podcast. This show exists for men who want clarity, strength, and control over their lives again after being emotionally drained inside toxic relationships that no longer feel safe or even real. And this episode is not about diagnosing your wife with narcissistic personality disorder. This is going to help you recognize the patterns that narcissists do and what you can do about it. Because if you are dealing with narcissistic traits in a marriage, traditional advice doesn't just fail, it often makes things worse for you. So here's the first strategy I want to share with you today. That is, stop trying to be understood. One of the first DMs men send me usually sounds like this: if I could just explain it better to her, maybe she'd finally get it. Let me be blunt. If empathy were available, it would have shown up already. I had a guy message me and say, I spent 2 hours calmly explaining how her comments made me feel, and she nodded the whole time. Then later, she told her sister I was emotionally unstable. In narcissistic dynamics, understanding is not the goal. Control is. And the moment you stop chasing understanding, you stop feeding the system. Now here's strategy number 2. Watch for patterns and not incidents. I had another man tell me recently that every time he brought something up, she's calm, reasonable, and somehow he leaves feeling guilty. He said it's never explosive, it's just draining. And that's the key. Narcissistic abuse it's rarely loud, it's repetitive. So here's what you look for. Like, does repair ever happen? Does accountability ever land? Do conversations actually resolve anything? Because patterns reveal the truth. Single moments lie. Now here's strategy number 3. Set behavioral boundaries, not emotional ones. I hear men often say, I told her how much it hurt me and she rolled her eyes at me. Well, that's because narcissistic behavior doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to consequences. Now let's get one thing straight. A boundary is not, I feel really hurt when you do this. A boundary is more like, if you speak to me that way, I'm leaving the room. One man told me the first time he actually enforced a boundary, his narcissistic wife laughed and said, wow, you are really sensitive now. And that told him everything he needed to know to leave her ass. Strategy number 4, enforce or don't set boundaries. Well, a boundary without follow through becomes ammunition for her. Let me share another DM I got. This guy said that she agreed to stop yelling at him. Then the next time she did it, he stayed and tried to calm her down. And now she laughs when I say I have boundaries. So expect pushback. It's not failure, that's exposure. Now coming up, I'm going to explain why men feel worse before they feel better when they start setting boundaries, and why that discomfort is actually a green light. Before I get into that, strategy number 5 is to use the gray rock method on her. Narcissistic dynamics feed on reaction, right? I had a guy tell me recently that when he stopped defending himself and just said, okay, or I hear you, she escalated for 2 weeks, he said, and then suddenly got bored. Now that's how you know gray rock is working. If you don't know what that means, gray rocking means short responses, a neutral tone, and no emotional hooks. You're not being cold, you're being unavailable for manipulation. Now here's strategy number 6. Stop seeking validation from her. Now this is where men stay stuck the longest. They want one thing. I just want to hear her. I just want her to admit she hurt me. And look, that may never happen. A man once told me she cheated emotionally and blamed me for it and still wanted me to apologize for bringing it up. Closure does not come from narcissistic women. It comes from self-trust. All right, strategy number 7 is to document reality to protect your sanity, because gaslighting erodes your memory. Men will say things like, I started writing things down because I thought I was losing my mind. So what they do is they journal on your phone or on an actual journal. Take note of dates and anchor yourself in reality. So that will help you stay grounded. Strategy number 8 is to do not isolate yourself. Narcissistic relationships shrink your world. I hear men say that they stopped talking to friends because she'd say they were a bad influence. And that's what these narcs want, because it makes the manipulation easier when you're isolated. But look, you need outside perspective. You need support to stay sane. Strategy number 9 is to be careful with couples therapy. Now, I'm not anti-therapy. I don't think you should go to therapy with a narcissist. Because I had this guy I've had many men who said that they'll go with their girlfriend or wife to therapy, and then the narcissist will win the therapist over. And if the therapist doesn't understand narcissistic dynamics, therapy just becomes a stage for her. So individual therapy is often safer. Now here's strategy number 10. That is to regulate your nervous system daily, because you maybe have a dysregulated nervous system. So how do you fix that? Well, with a solid gym routine, good sleep, and better habits. Strategy number 11, if you have kids involved, just know that kids need predictability and calm. So do not turn them into therapists. Model boundaries. Strategy number 12 is know when staying with her is costing you too much. A man once said to me that he stayed for the kids and lost himself, and now his kids don't even recognize him. So if your mental health is deteriorating, that matters. Peace is not quitting, it's self-respect. Now, strategy number 13 is to prepare quietly to leave her and not emotionally. Now, preparation brings calm. So know your finances, know your legal rights, and do not threaten. Silence plus preparation equals power. Strategy number 14 is to expect discomfort when you change. Men say, I set boundaries and everything felt worse. Well, of course it did. You stopped complying. Now, discomfort is temporary, but disappearing is permanent. And finally, strategy number 15, reclaim your identity first. Do not decide to stay or leave from panic. Regain your clarity first and then decide. Now, this is what most men skip, and it costs them years. Now, learning how to deal with a narcissistic wife isn't about fixing her. It's about stopping the slow erosion of yourself. Look, brother, you are not weak and you are not broken. You adapted to a system that punished authenticity. And the moment you see that clearly, you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what do I need to protect my life, my mental health? That's where real strength begins. If this episode helped you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a man who needs clarity. Look, you are not alone, and you don't have to disappear to keep the peace. You can get out of a toxic relationship with a narcissistic wife.